We're sitting at 20R for the week, and that is using the aggressive model with a 15-minute sweep. Hello everyone, and I hope that you are well. Welcome back to another video, and I hope that you've enjoyed the previous two videos. Now before I continue, if you can hear ducks in the background, I do apologize. They are currently being shifted from house to house, and they're rather loud at the minute. I'm not sure if the mic is catching that, but yeah, just so you're aware. Anyway, let's talk about what we're going to do in this video. So in this video, we are going to be talking about, again, creating the edge, collecting data, and we're going to talk about the aggressive model that I am working on for the blueprint model. So I'll give you just a sneak peek of the rule set, just so it makes sense as to what we are looking for. Now, usually we obviously use the hourly as the base. We're going to use the 15-minute this time, just so it's slightly more aggressive in terms of what we are looking for in terms of bias. But obviously the risk is that the more aggressive you go, the higher the frequency, but I would say it's more chance of, well, more risk of actually losing. But as I said, this is the reason why we test, and this is the reason why we go ahead and create the edge. So as I said in this video, if you're going to follow the edge, just bear in mind this is a tested edge. It's not a testing edge. It's not a defined edge for you to use right now, but it's completely up to you how you do with it. Anyway, what we are going to do as well is we're going to go about collecting data, and this is just a rough sheet. And this is what I do basically for about 2-3 weeks. I would collect data like this, and then I'll compare whether it's worth doing it or not. Then I add more and more stuff as I go on, like the break-even rules, what's the maximum RR, what's the best RR to achieve, and so on. But this is what I would start with. So this is the best way for me when creating an edge. It used to be I used to do everything on paper and everything, but I'm a bit more advanced now. Anyway, so if you've been following us for a while, you know that we've released the DPC back in 2023, the updated version, which is our true mechanical edge. And we've been posting all our results here live on the website in live time, where we're currently sitting at over 3,000%. All our monthly results are posted here. As not only that, you see examples of members' replications, and the reason why you see so many replications, this is only a handful. If you go to our Instagram page, you'll see replication after replication to the point where you'll think it's the same post, when in reality it's purely the same edge being replicated by all our members that are following the DPC edge. And the only way that this level of replication is only possible because we have an edge that has zero discretion, zero guesswork, same stop loss, same TP, same session, same targets. Everything is exactly the same. So all our members are achieving the exact same results. Now, at some point in this video, probably near the end, you'll get some sort of discount code. Purely because this is the first video back. You can access any of our programs, and you can use whatever discount code I choose to give. I don't actually know at the minute, but what I suggest doing is thinking about this as an investment, as an investment for yourself, because you have to think about it in terms of, if you're watching this video, you're here because you want to progress your trading, and the way you can do that is by enhancing your enhancing your knowledge base. And I know buying into a mentorship may sound like it's a bit of a scam or whatever. I know, especially in this industry, but we've been around since 2019. We've not changed, and if anything, edges have just got better and better. And we've actually developed programs which are accessible for most people, well, for pretty much everyone. We've given also monthly fee options where it can make it easier for you. And as I said, every single trade is posted, and there's no way you can really digress unless you change the system yourself. Anyway, we also do have the Vertex algo coming soon, which is going to be our EA for our DPC edge, so you can achieve those exact same results but hands-free. But that'll be coming soon, so be sure to keep an eye on that. And before we carry on with the video, I also want to mention Vertex Funding. If those of you aren't aware, that we do have our own funding platform, and we've been around for a few years now, and we've sort of made a name for ourselves. And we have just released our instant accounts, where you can simply choose your account, start trading it and profit, and then you can withdraw whenever you wish, really. There's no minimum trading days. You can withdraw from day one, no consistency rule, and you can compound it to however much you wish. But we do have also a two-phase option, which is slightly cheaper for you guys. So you can choose, you can play around with this website. The link to this website will be in the description below, and you can do everything from this page. Let's start with, so this is, I've not seen this pair, and I don't even trade USD CAD, so I have no idea whether this works or not. But this is the whole purpose of doing testing, and I've just literally just come back to this day just so it's easy and prepared for the video. So, but I've not had a look at all. Anyway, so all we're looking for again is just a sweep, and whichever way the sweep is, we're going the opposite way. So what we have here already is that we have, let me turn this off. We have the sweep, and obviously we're looking for bears. Now, we're not going to be looking at invalidation rule just yet in terms of our sweeps, purely because we want to see if this actually works. Now, just looking at this already, we can see obviously we had a bullish sweep and price is going bearish, so that already confirms that our rule set it's fine, like it's working. And obviously the only thing that we do have is that's the range that we need, that's the range low as a minimum that it needs to achieve. So we're looking for that. So we're looking for that sweep and for it to hit that range. If price was already to hit that range here prior to the session, then it's different. Then we'll be looking for bullish sweeps, for example. Anyway, so we have that. Let's go into the session, onto the 1 minute now. Okay. And all we're looking for is a trade, and I can already see one. So, which is actually really nice because we have a sweep here, and then our entry would be off this candle. Oh my god, why is that so big? That would be there, so that would be, if we're adding 1 2 3 4 5, and we're looking for 5R, which is there. Okay, so what we have now is the date was, what was the date? The 2nd of June, 6:25. The time of the trade, I'll explain why this is important, was 7:08. Actually, I think I explained in the last video why it was open, and that was a 5R, and that was a short. The reason why also why we look at whether it was long or short is to see what has the highest chance of winning, because sometimes you can get edges. Not that I've had many, but sometimes you can have edges where they favor one direction more than the other, but that's not the case. In terms of obviously the RR, we're looking at we're going to look at using our rule set that we already have that's defined in terms of the 3R and the 5R as a minimum. And then in terms of time, we're going to use that to identify when is the rough time that we have the best amount of trades. So for example, obviously we're looking between 7 and 9, which is what we have as our defined rule. But sometimes, say you have the most profitable trades between 7 and 7:30, or 7 and 8, for example, and then that means you can cut your trading time to only half an hour or to an hour compared to 2 hours, which is, for me, which is probably one of the biggest things that I look for, is how I can cut down my time. Ideally, I'll try to cut it down to as minimal as possible, but I've not managed to cut it down from 2 hours. I think that is, I think that's fair. But anyway, that's essentially what I'll do. So now we can move on to the next day. So we had 5R on this day. Let's go to the next one. I'm not going to be cutting this video and just doing it day by day. I'll just play it as it is and then go from there. Okay, so I'm only doing that purely because editing takes ages sometimes, and I'd rather just post not a rough video, but a raw video, I would say. Okay, so here we have, so this is Tuesday the 3rd, we have a bullish sweep again. So obviously we're looking for sales, pretty easy. Let me just go back a little bit because I don't want that many minute candles. Okay, so let's see what we have. I can already see a trade as well. But anyway, start the session. Oh, actually, we have, no we don't, that's a new one. Yeah, we have a sweep here. Very simple. And then the entry was there, stop loss 5 pips above. Not 5, sorry, 0.5. And that'll be a 5R that we're looking for. Wow, okay. And that hit there. So let's go back to our spreadsheet. So this is the 3rd of June. Hold on a sec. Yeah, sorry, I had to count. 25, that was a 7-14? Could be wrong. 15, okay, I was close. 7-15, it was a 5R and it was a short again. Okay, very nice. We can move on to the next one now. So let's keep going. Stop. Okay, so now what's going on here? So the last thing to happen is that we have a sweep of the high, so we're looking for sales. Again, you can already see, as I said, this is a rough look. We're looking at sweeps and we're looking at the price going the opposite direction, which supports our theory. So let's go to the M1. Let me go back a little bit again because I don't need that many M1 candles. Okay. There it is. I was going to say. Okay, so let's see what's happening here then. So we're going to go off the sweeps. So the first sweep was here. So here we have the sweep, then it gets invalidated, which is fine. Next we have another sweep, and then we have an entry. Which gets here. And then that gets taken out about there. Okay, ignore that for now. So that's a -1. Let me write that down. Actually, I'll write it down at the end. It's fine. That's how I normally do it. And then we have another sweep, but then it gets taken out, obviously. Okay, that's fine. And then we have another sweep here. So that gets triggered in there. Stop loss 1.9. And then that'll be a 5R that we're looking for there. Okay, nice. The results are looking rather good, I think. But yeah, I promise you, I've not looked at this. I've not looked at the chart prior to this video. Anyway, so let's look at what's happening here. So we're looking at the 4th of June. The first trade, which was a loss, was at 708. 708, and that was a -1R, and that was a short. Second trade was again for the 625, and this trade was at 740, and this was a 5R, and that was a short as well. Okay, so not looking bad for the week at all so far. I mean, if anything, we still have 2 days and we have a 3 trade max rule. So potentially 6R, we can lose 6R, but we are up currently 14R. So if anything, we finished the week very strong regardless. And that's a good way to see it as well. I know sometimes, say if you have a good winning phase and then you suddenly start losing, it's easy to just get in your head about that kind of stuff, but you sort of need to understand that it's going to happen anyway. But if you're sitting at 14R and then you lose 6R, it's not that big of a deal. At the end of it, you're still leaving with profit. So think about it in that way. So in this case here, what we have, so this is Thursday the 5th, we have the sweep. So obviously we're looking for sales, and this again supports our theory. The thing out, and a key point with when you do testing like this, you have to be honest with yourself in terms of what you would do in live time. I don't really mess around. I don't make shit up. So it's I know myself what I'll do, but it's very easy, especially when I was learning. It's very easy to fall in the trap of just saying, "Oh, I would have done this. I would have done that." I know I could already see a win here, but yeah, that it's a bad habit to get into. So make sure you're honest. Anyway, let's follow on. So no, nothing here. Actually, when's the last? That's the last major range, but that triggered in too early, which is fine. Actually, there's a sweep here, and it entered. So I almost missed that one. This is the stuff that I think people will lie about. Is you have a losing trade here. I'm not going to draw the stop loss. We know it's a -1. But you see a losing trade here, and sometimes you think, "Oh, I wouldn't have entered that or whatever," but I would have, and I need to be honest with myself. But anyway, high, high, low. So the actual range high here was from here to here. So that's your range, because that goes high, high, low. You can't have that. If there's a case where you have low, then high, then low, then this high will be irrelevant. That's still the major high. So we have this sweep here, and then we're looking at this low, not this low, this entry here, 3.3. So we're looking at 3.8. So this will only be not only, we're looking at a 3-hour trade. Okay, so let's write this down now. So this is the 5th of June, first trade, well, that's 7:36. Second, I'm not going to remember that. I'll try. 5th of June 25. Oh my god. See, I've forgotten already. What was this one? 7:36 and 7:40. Fine. Where is it? There. 7:36. Next one, 7:40. That's a -1. Again, that was a short, and the next one was 3. And again, that was a short, and that was 5, 6, 25. Okay, let's move on to the last day off, and then we'll end the video there. So let's go to Friday. USD CAD could be a very good pair by the looks of it. Obviously, 1 week data is not enough. It's just giving you a rough idea of what we're looking for. So what is the last sweep to happen prior? So what we have is the sweep of this low. That gets swept, but the bullish sweep, the bearish sweep is still valid, because we're looking for that range high, which hasn't happened. So once the session starts, we'll be looking to go long. Let's go here, M1. Look at that, straight from this session. So we have a sweep here with the entry. Oh, that's a long actually this time. It's our first long that we've had this whole week. So stop loss would be here. So it's going to be 1.7. Oops. And we're looking for 5R, which I don't think we'll get. No. So this gets stopped out here. So we're not going to look for another trade until we get to the next one. So we have a sweep here, entry there. This looks like it's going to be a fat stop loss. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2. Actually, still looking for 5R, which doesn't hit in the session. Let's see if it does hit. It doesn't have to hit in the session, by the way. It's one of these set and forget methods. I will talk about a break-even rule eventually, but we're just looking at our rough testing. So let's see if it does hit. Okay, and that does hit. All right, fair enough. That's our week done. Okay, so let's document these. So we are looking at a -1 from, is that 701? That triggers in, yeah, 701. So 6625. First trade is 701 minus 1R, and that's a long. And then 6625. 7. I'm going to keep the spreadsheet and I'll carry on the testing for this. I'll do another week of testing with this for another video. I'll do this week's testing for Sunday's video actually. This is at first one actually past 8 o'clock, 8:27. No, 8:28. Sorry. And this was a 5R, and that was a long. Okay, so overall for the week we are seeing 5, 10, 9, 14, 13, 16, 15, 20R. 20, wow, okay, we're seeing that 20R for the week, and that is using the aggressive model with a 15-minute sweep. The thing is here now, looking at this data roughly, already that is okay for enough to tell me, yes, we have an edge that works. Then it's a case of just collecting more and more data and building on that. And then it's about finding the ideal time, finding what's the ideal risk to reward. We can stick to our rule, or ideally what we can do is now finding, for example, we can do max RR and then work out an average of what the max is. And then we can set our stop loss and take profit to that RR. We don't have to, but that's another thing. There's so much more that we can add, but this is a rough idea of, this is an idea, sorry, not a rough idea. This is an idea of how I do my rough testing when creating an edge. So as I said, like any edge that you've seen that we've created, it's been a long process. It's like when you see an edge, that edge has been worked on for like months on end prior to release. It's not the case of I think of an edge and I release it the next week. It's nothing like that. It is months of testing, because I'll do this, for example, and this is all back testing. Then once I'm happy with the back testing, I'll do live testing for a few months. And with live testing, I mean I will actually go ahead and execute on either a live account or a demo account, whatever. And then I will confirm whether my edge is whether I'm happy with the edge. So as I said, with this edge, obviously this is a great week. We're sitting at 20R. But it doesn't mean that this edge is viable. It still needs a lot more testing, and this is the first actual test, so this is my genuine reaction to doing a test. But go ahead and test what you like, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.